Hello and welcome to this tutorial where I'm going to look at a few useful techniques that might help when it comes to designing a hub. So a hub is essentially a place where you can teleport to other games and game worlds in Crayta. But it can be even more than that, because a hub can be a social space where you invite your friends and you can hang out and then you can collect together before going off on your adventures in some of the games that you've got in your hub. It's also a really good opportunity as a creator to make an environment that doesn't require some kind of game mechanics, game dynamics. So that's quite liberating because you can kind of then make whatever you like, and that's good fun. So how do we design a hub that feels like a hub and that teaches our player that this is a hub before they start running around and shooting each other? Well, the first thing is to avoid some immediate game mechanic things. So notice that when I arrived in this hub, I didn't get a gun thrust in my hands, a counter counting down and people shooting at me or anything like that. I arrived here, there's a some relaxed music playing, you know, it's a calm tone of voice basically for the whole environment. And that's trying to encourage my player to have an enjoyable and relaxed experience. There's no objective, they don't have to do something, it's not a game. And also encourage some kind of exploration of my environment. Another way to tell my players that they are in a hub and what to expect from being in a hub is by showing the players portals. I'd suggest at least showing the player a couple of portals as soon as they arrive in your hub. And this is because it does two things. One is that it tells them they're in a hub and that there's portals. And the second is that this is what a portal looks like. It's kind of telling them this is what a portal looks like. And so then they know what to look out for when they're looking out for other portals in your game world. Because it's your hub, you can make the portals look like whatever you want. And so having some kind of prior knowledge of that might be, is a bad thing to just assume people would know what a portal looks like. So it's quite nice to show them a couple of portals as soon as they arrive so that they know exactly what to look out for. And then you can hide them and, you know, people can go off and find them and stuff like that. Let's look at a portal and explore this portal, for example. Some of the techniques that you might want to consider when creating a portal in your hub. So firstly, I've tried to make it as eye-catching as possible to stand out from the rest of the environment, so that players know that this is something that they can interact with, and also they get drawn towards the portal. I've done that by using bright colours. I've specifically used this party voxel, and I've used dynamic things, so you can see that the lights are changing and then we've got this effect here, so that kind of movement can be quite eye-catching. The flags are waving too. There's high contrast between the portal and the background, so it's bright colours against dark colours there. And I've only used this party voxel on portals around my game world. And that brings me on to another point, is try and be consistent with your portals so that they all look the same. This will help your players to know what a portal looks like, and then you only need to teach them once how to interact with a portal and they'll know how to use them throughout your game world. It's a really good opportunity to use templates and to hook up all of the code all ready to go. With regards to actually interacting with a portal and going to a game, there's a couple of simple things that you might want to do. To start with, try and avoid using triggers to automatically send players to different locations. Try and make sure that your portals require some kind of active input. And that will mean that your player makes the actual choice, I want to go here, I'll press a button to go there. There's a couple of reasons. One is you don't want to confuse and disorient your players by suddenly loading into a new game. Then they would, it avoids them having to then go in the game and then go back if they weren't finished exploring in your game. And also it's really good for accessibility to make sure that people know what's about to happen before they press the button. Here, where I'm looking at this Stop the Furnace game, you can see in the bottom right corner there's a prompt that says press E to travel to world. So that's my way of saying, okay, here's a portal, this is the game that you will be transported to, and this is how you go about doing that. Remember to include the name of the game on your portal somewhere, so that players know exactly where they're going, but before they go there. So tell your players you're going to go here if you interact with this portal. So that's a few techniques for designing the portal within your hub. Once you've designed your portal and you've got a bit of an idea of, you know, the tone of voice of your hub, trying to make it relaxed and encourage exploration, there's a couple of ways we can help our players navigate our hub and know what to do here. So notice that in front of me I have a few different pathway options, and pathways are a really handy thing to help your players to navigate your game world or your hub. I've tried to make sure that all pathways lead to or past a portal. So this pathway over here leads to that portal. This area with the swim up bar allows you to swim up to that portal. And this one is clearly our primary route because it's the most brightly lit pathway and it's the most eye-catching pathway. And that's because this one leads to this portal, but it also leads to the rest of the game world or the rest of the hub where there's more portals. So I've led us here, and then I've kind of framed between these trees this portal here. And remember, I'm using a consistent portal, like they're all the same, they all look the same, albeit they'll have slightly different game cards. And so because of that party voxel being quite eye-catching, it means that players will know, oh, there's another portal, and they won't even have to think about it. They'll just know that's another portal over there. And again, following this primary pathway, I've got a sign here which will direct players to 2 different directions they can go. There's another portal. And again, using these bright colors, like this is a Crayta world, so we all know that we can run over here, we could jump off there, but we don't necessarily want to because we're being encouraged to follow this pathway. So the pathway is actually, you know, really helping the player to navigate the game world. It will help them to navigate back if they're like, oh, I wanted to actually play that game I saw over there. So I would encourage the use of pathways in your hub to direct players to different places. And then if you've got any kind of game elements, they can happen off the pathway. That brings me on to an important point, that you can include game elements within your hub. It doesn't have to be just a walking simulator that you walk around. So game elements that work really well are things like the collection game or an obstacle course. And they can just be little fun asides. You can find those in the Crayta hub. There's a obstacle course and there's a couple of different collection games, a beach ball one and a shell collection game. And they kind of give players something to do in your hub. They encourage a little bit of exploration, but they're not completely essential. They're just little fun additions to make the hub an interesting and vibrant place to be. Remember to include lots of cool places to have your photo taken as well, because if you're meeting up here with your friends, then you might make some memories and want to keep some photos back of what you got up to, some cool poses. And just try and make an area that's fun to explore and unique and expresses how you feel and gives you the opportunity to make whatever you want to make without worrying about the game side of things. I hope this tutorial on designing a hub has been useful. This hub, Tutorial Springs, I will be publishing and you'll be able to come and check it out. I'm hoping that I can keep working on it and add tutorials to it so that you'll be able to see some of the tutorials come up, and some of the tutorials will happen in the hub and some of the tutorials will be navigable by these portals over here. Let me know what you think. If you've got any feedback on my hub or got any questions about designing hubs, then head over to our Discord. There's a great channel called Game Design Help, which will help anyone that's looking for things like how do I style a path, or How do I make my portal more eye-catching? And I really look forward to seeing you on the Discord or in Crayta and in my hub.